Hey everybody, it's Mark here from Haunted Auckland and Paranormal New Zealand. Welcome to episode 2 of Outside the Box. This is just a random little series that I'm throwing together during the lockdown period due to the coronavirus epidemic at the moment. So everybody's locked away in their houses, so we can't go out and investigate. So we're trying to stay productive, trying to stay active, trying to stay there and doing what we enjoy doing. So today I thought I'd catch up with Elies from Boseman Paranormal Society in Montana. Are you there, Elies?
Yeah, we're in pretty much lockdown as well in Montana. So
what are you doing to pass the time?
So I'm a home care aide, so I take care of elderly people and disabled people, and I'm also a part-time student, and I'm going to school for medical assisting. So yeah, so that's what I do. And I also just before this just got done doing a live talk on my page, so and demonstrated some equipment and talked about stories. So
good.
Mostly with entertainment for my members, because most of those people were on instead. So
yeah. Oh, it's great. Okay, so yeah, you're from Boseman Paranormal Society in Montana. How long have you been going for? How long have you been doing that for?
For 8 years now. So great. 8 years at the end of March. So I'm the founder. I founded the group. The group actually came to me in a dream, even the name and everything. And after that, I was like, oh, we need to make shirts, and we needed to go on an investigation and get equipment. And my basic startup equipment was just a video camera, a voice recorder, and a little digital camera. And that's, yeah.
You start off basic, make your way as you learn. That's the way it should be.
Yeah, that's what I...
There's no point diving into a whole pile of gear, is there?
Yeah, so it takes a while. But yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, are there many places to investigate over that way?
Yeah. Actually, our busiest place in Montana is Butte. So it's one of the most, it's like the oldest, like, historical city in the West, like, apparently. So, yeah, that's like the most, like, historical uptown. It's where, like, miners were there and whatnot. But we go there quite a bit. It's very, very haunted. So I do a lot of that over there. And then here in Bozeman, my most haunted place I think we investigate is the Rialto Theater. So, and I go there quite a bit. And I also host ghost tours. So, right. Yeah.
So you got some unlimited access there.
Yep. So I'm usually Montana's known for being in the middle of nowhere. So yeah, a lot of ghost towns.
Awesome. That's really cool. We're just a small country here, but we have our share of historical places and old buildings that we can investigate as well. There's only a few teams here, so there isn't much competition, which is great.
Yep.
Plenty of locations for everybody.
Yeah, Bozeman's not like the oldest city, so it's not like, so there's not as many haunted locations compared to like Butte, but there's just enough, you know, to keep yourself also pretty entertained.
Yeah.
So,
well, you're talking about equipment and all that sort of thing. I mean, I'm guessing that you use the basic equipment like, you know, audio recorders and video cameras and EMF readers and that kind of thing. But what would you consider to be the most overrated piece of equipment that's out there at the moment?
Like overrated? Like
overrated, yeah.
You like overly used.
Yeah,
I would say I would think the EMF reader, because sometimes you would think that, you know, you don't always get like the full readings from it, and there's a lot of things that it could go off. Like I actually demonstrated that during my talk today, is how the telephone or like your phone can put off the EMF reader. So people, when they're holding it, they're like, "Oh no, it's going off," but they're using their their phone to record, which I have no problems with you using your recorder off your phone. It is a recorder. But it's like, if you're holding it next to it, of course it's going to go off. It's on a ghost. So to me, I'm like, it would be over. And some of these, other ghost hunting teams make EMF readers, and some of them, they're too sensitive. So what happens is you'll go into a room and everything puts it off. So I feel like that's a little overrated. Like, I bought one from like ghoststop.com, and I love it. It looks like something out of Aliens, but you only can use it in a place where there's barely any electricity in the building at all. So yeah, and
of course you got to look out for underground wiring as well. We've found places that have no power inside the building, but underneath the ground there are still live wires feeding the other properties in the area. So that's something to look out for, which we found out. Yeah.
So I feel like that one's a little overly rated, because people think everything is a ghost when something goes in front of it. So you always have to try to debunk all of your things with just the EMF reader and go, okay, what's putting this off? Is it just a wiring? If you're doing a hotel, who's below you? Is there anybody using anything below you? You know what I mean? So,
oh yeah. Hey, it's nice to meet a paranormal investigator that thinks and is a little bit educated.
Yeah.
That's great.
Yeah, and I'm always like on the ground, and we're like, why is this going off? And then we're like up and down and up and down.
Yep. So have you had any experiences, like anything that you want to share, or anything that's happened during your investigation so far that stood out to you?
So I guess so you're not my only person that's always recorded me. I actually do podcasts. So, but my most personal experience I've ever had, even ghost hunting, is my one when I went to Virginia City, Montana, not Nevada. And I list Virginia City, Montana as the most haunted place in Montana. And we were walking down the boardwalk, and you pass this building that's called the Hanging House. So they hung vigilantes in this hanging house. And they're pretty much, they would rob the town and whatnot, and they were horrible people. Well, we were getting up to the building, and the door was open, but the lights were off. And we're assuming, because this is a small ghost town, that, and there's, nobody, he might have went across the street to do the owner talking to somebody. So when we were walking past the door, my member and I saw something up here sitting at the desk. And so we ended up going in, because apparently the thing invited us in. You're going to think this is a weird story. He was he was saying, "Oh, I just been sitting here drinking a beer." And well, the beer wasn't in his hand until he physically said that. So I don't know what he is. His story gets weird. And I'm not making it up. And we were talking about how we're ghost hunters, and heard about the stories of the about the vigilantes, how this building is haunted. Oh, we started talking about stories, but it was always about one person. So, and it was so weird. Well, he ends up going, "Oh, do you want to go into the hanging house?" So this building is two separate. It's like there's the gift shop, and then there's the hanging house. So you have to go out of the door to go into the hanging house. Well, I don't remember us leaving the gift shop to go in the hanging house. So we all kind of lost time at this point. I don't know how that works. So we go into the hanging house, and this is the end of August. So it's pretty hot and gross out. Well, we decided to take, at the time I have a thermal imaging camera now, but we only had an IR temp gun. So the area at night might have been like 60 degrees, or room temperature might have been 50. He was room temperature. He wasn't alive anymore. Because I'm like secretly like taking the IR temp gun to him, and I'm like afraid to take pictures of him because you're standing in a close quarters. You don't know what he is. It was kind of, so I do have a voice recording somewhere of him just talking. So I think whatever he was, because I don't know, there's no listing, I don't know what he was. He was talking about how, there's cold spots that you can get in this building. And he's like, usually over there and there. Well, right when he would say that, that's when we would get cold spots. So I was like, that was really weird, because it's like the end of August. So we got him to talk. We kept trying to get him to talk, because he was. But the thing we noticed is he would never come and brush next to us. Like if you would try to walk by him, he would always try to move away from you. So you would never be able to touch him. So we thought this was kind of weird. So we ended up coming out of the hanging house, and we kept trying to get him to talk, because what we're trying to do is get him to disappear. And after eventually 30 minutes of talking, we convinced ourselves, okay, we're not going to get this to happen. So right when we left, that's when he ended, we felt like he never went back into the building. But when we drove by, the door was still open, and it was dark inside. So after that, I had a member join the group the following year, and she ended up being an anthropology major, and she was doing work at Virginia City. So she ends up bringing this picture of her and all of her staff, and that guy was in the picture, and it looked like him. And I said, who is that guy? And he goes, oh, he's the guy that runs the hanging house. So it freaked me out. So of course, because I don't know what this guy was. So, but his hat was different. So, you heard doppelgangers. So doppelgangers should not be doing that. Like usually you see them afar, like it's always a distance thing. So it's like kind of weird that, well, his hat was just off. Like he had cards on one side, and they were like a different color. I think when I saw them, they were black, but they're originally red. And yeah, I don't know at this point, maybe you'll want to share the story. If somebody has had an experience like me, I would like to know, because I don't even think he has a definition. I know he's a form of doppelganger, but sometimes in the paranormal field, you find out things that they don't even have a definition. So there's something beyond that. So that's my most freakiest story. Yeah. I'm not making it up. So it was really, I don't know if it was a ghost or what. It was really weird. So
as if there weren't already enough questions out there,
yeah,
this happens. Yeah, that's wow, that's neat.
Yeah,
that's great.
Yeah.
Wow.
And now, yeah, that's my best story. I always share it all the time, and everybody's like, I don't know what that was. So, but yeah.
Great. So your team, how many in your team?
15.
15?
Yeah.
You all go to investigations, do you? Yeah.
Yeah.
And do you all go to investigations at the same time?
No, I usually keep it. Yeah, why I have a large group is so if I have like an investigation, and usually I can never get 15 people, so at least I have somebody coming to it. And also, since I'm a nonprofit, I do a lot of community events in the area. I also do free community events, like we'll go to cemeteries and ghost towns and stuff like that. But I also do ghost tours, so I always need help with those. So it's better to have a bigger group when you have to have community events. So it kind of gives, a broad amount of things that I can do as a group. So, yeah.
Awesome. Okay. I'm just asking you random, generic 101 questions here. Out of all the researchers out there from the past and present, are there any that have stood out to you, that have inspired you, who have done any research that has sort of made you think and helped you with your own research out there?
I think more like people, it's always been my own theories or things that I've heard from I'm trying to think, like as a child, it was more history for me, when I started the research, like paranormal wise. So I more was interested in the history part of the paranormal. So it's never been more of like the paranormal research than the history research. So I guess there's never been like one specific person, unless you're considering like people that I work around now.
Yeah.
So
hey, at least you didn't say Zach Bagans.
Yeah. So
I'm glad you did.
just the broad history part of the paranormal. I think that's what makes our group unique, because we always try to tie history with the paranormal. So, but yeah.
As you should be.
Yeah.
You should be,
I think that they're what makes history.
And with all your time now in the field and all your research and what you've experienced, what you've seen, what you've heard, what you've felt, have you come to any sort of conclusion yet about what ghosts may or may not be?
I always thought that they were just, for me, their energy, I guess, and just your, to me, I think when you die, like, you have a choice. If sometimes some spirits, they like to be there, so I always think that, okay, your energy might love to be at that theater, but if you tragically die, your imprint of your energy is stuck there as well. So, because I've talked to spirits that have told me that they're happy to be in their location, so why would you want to pass them on? So I guess their energy, they're mostly, for me, their energy or their spirit of themselves that was inside their physical body is decided that they want to stay there. So, and then if there were, then same with like suicide or murder or something that tragically happened, like an accident, I feel like it's because it wasn't their time, that their energy or their spirit in general, which is also the energy, is stuck there. So they kind of, because sometimes I always think that spirits are like, I've taught, there's a spirit at the Rialto is a good example. He loves being at the theater. So apparently he was known as a big supporter of Boseman, and a lot of people on my tour even knew him. So like personally, and it's crazy how much spirits will interact with somebody that they know. So, and when I went into the Rialto, I brought my friend Kathleen Johns. She's psychic, and she goes, "Oh, he's really happy. He loves being here." So, and I would think maybe that if they're happy there, why would you want their energy to leave? So yeah, I think ghosts are really just energy, and that's just one of my theories I thought I'd add.
Yeah. Are you into the whole residual idea as well?
Yeah.
That's one I think is quite plausible myself, yeah.
And one of my theories to residual haunting is even a living person can leave an imprint, because I've had very much a lot of people have experiences of somebody that has been alive if they've been in a building. And I always tell them it doesn't have to be horrible residual energy. It could be like a party. I always tell people when we're on like tours and stuff, oh, you can leave an imprint from like a bar and stuff and you'll still be there. Exactly. So yeah. And I'm like, you might be there forever. And
if it's possible for a building to record an incident 100 years ago or 200 years ago, why not 1 minute ago?
Yep.
So, you know.
So it's crazy. So I always explain that it's never always tragic. It's sometimes just a happy thing. You know, birthday parties and things. So, yeah.
Great. Okay, well that's really awesome. Okay, so you have a website?
Yes, I do. It's bosemanparanormal.com.
Cool.
So,
and you're on Facebook.
Yeah.
And you're doing the live thing as well. Cool.
Yeah.
All right then. Well, you know where we are, so we have to keep in touch now. And I know I'm planning a trip over to the States in the next few years, so I'll be looking you up.
Yeah, you should come out to Montana.
It's on my list, so yeah, I'm definitely keen.
So you live in New Zealand?
Yep.
That's also on my list since I'm like a nerd, so I'm always like, oh, Lord of the Rings.
Oh. That's all we seem to be known for. Yeah, Lord of the Rings, Peter Jackson.
I used to actually go to school in high school with a kid that was a person, he lived in New Zealand. Now he lives in Denmark, but he would always talk about how beautiful it was out there, and he's like, but it's like he would always say Montana is a lot beautifuler. I'm like, oh, okay. Yeah. I wouldn't know.
Yeah, well, it's quite surprising. I mean, there are maps out there that don't even have New Zealand on it. You know, it's quite crazy. So there's a lot of people that don't even know that we exist. But because of people like Peter Jackson has put us on the map.
It's same with Montana. A lot of people live in like New York and go, do you still ride horses to school? And I'm like, no. We're not like pioneers. Sometimes I guess we do. We are like pioneers because you'll be driving down the street and then you'll lose service and you're like, oh, okay. So we're kind of pioneers.
Yeah. Okay, just one last question. Out of all the haunting cases ever that you've heard about, which has been the one that has intrigued you the most? Which would be one that you would like to investigate yourself? If it was still happening. Has there been a famous case anywhere? For me, it was the Enfield hauntings, the poltergeist case. That's one that I've always been intrigued about. And I've actually been to Enfield and I've stood outside the house. I couldn't get in, but I've been there. But that's one place that I would like to personally investigate.
So my personal investigation would have to be the Stanley Hotel.
Oh, yeah.
So, and we're only 9 hours from the Stanley Hotel, and it's been, when we hit our 10-year mark, we're thinking about going out to the Stanley Hotel. So it's been on my bucket list pretty much, is to mark off the Stanley Hotel. What intrigued me about it was just how haunted it is, but it's more like it's just like a basic haunted out place. There's residual there. There's it's just, I like haunted hotels. I'm kind of one of those people. So
those hallways, those long hallways. Yeah. And it's not, of course, with the Shining, it's not gonna be like The Shining, the Stephen King. He ended up having one of his haunted rooms the haunted room he stayed in was a residual haunting. So he saw this woman who actually lived and read about it, and she was a maid that was in his room, and she got electrocuted, and she was folding laundry, and now you'll see her just folding laundry and getting electrocuted. So really?
Yeah, so that I'll most likely will stay in that room. That when I've stayed in haunted hotels before, and nothing ever happens when I'm sleeping. So
still, you've got to keep the cameras rolling, though. You've got to keep those cameras rolling.
Keep them. So
yeah,
but yeah, that's on my bucket list.
Awesome. It's on mine as well. I don't know too much about the place. I've heard a lot about the haunting side of it, but I don't know too much about the history. I haven't read too much into it.
I know a little bit of it, but I'll probably end up reading more into it so I could, talk about more of the history, but I only know more about like the hauntings of what happened in the building. So, yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Typical. It's mostly residual hauntings, but yeah.
Really? Is that what they say?
Yeah, because they'll hear like little kids running up and down the hallways, but that could be a residual of little kids now running up and down the hallways. So it could have been just so much energy of even kids today, and just keep playing it. So those people could be still alive. Who knows? So yeah.
Awesome. Excellent. Oh, well, nice to talk to you. And we'll stay in touch.
Nice talking to you. Yeah,
we'll stay in touch, okay? And if I'm over your way, we'll be hooking up, right?
Yeah, sounds good. It was nice talking to you.
Okay, we'll stay in touch, okay? See you later.
Yeah.
Bye.
Have a good night.